So it would be interesting to hear about how you left and why you left.
I first escaped North Korea in 1998. It was February, so maybe next week, in 18th in February, I left North Korea. Yeah. So in 1996, my uncle died of stabbings in front of me. So when I saw my uncle bodies, and he's not to look like person, he's animals because only bones and the skins in there. Yeah, and yeah, but this is not only my uncle. It's, that I usually saw many dead bodies in street, stations, and we heard every day is some families died or families died something. So it was really horrible times, and difficult because we always respect and believed to government and we followed to them. But we received, famine, and the families apart, separated, and the children became the street child, and many people died. But government never solved these problems. They only say same thing. That is not is government problems. That is South Korea and American problems.
So blaming.
So that's why our people hunger and yes, they always say things the same thing and political things to us, and they never care about the people died of starving. So that time is 3 million people died of starvings. It's few years times. That is a kind of is a genocide in North Korea. So that time is many so people escaped North Korea, but they not this is political meanings. They all wanted to survive, and they bring some kind of rice and bring to North Korea, and they wanted to responsibility their families. So that's why many people crossed to Tumon rivers and went to China. So in 1997, my house also problems is all people that is starving, hunger. But in 1997, my younger brother had problems in his militaries. So he came to the home, and then the two military soldiers followed to him, and they catched to him, they tortured to him. So my father's last wish was to save my younger brother. So that time my brother's condition was really bad, and sometimes he was stable, and when he woke up, and he just only hand me to leave countries.
I see.
Yeah, so that's why in 1998 I left North Korea with my younger brother, because that time my younger brother life was really edgy and really dangerous times. So that's why I left my illness father alone in cold dining room, and I still don't know when my father passed away and where he's buried. But because I wanted to promise my dad when I left North Korea, I wanted to save my younger brother. So that's why I left North Korea. But once in China, I was human trafficking and sold to a Chinese man. And then my younger brother repatriated to North Korea, and I still don't know that he's a survivor or not. Yes, that is my first escape North Korea. Yeah.
Is trafficking one of the only ways to escape?
Yes, that is only one choice, because they cross the border not too easy to us, because we are not a kind of a passport, and the government never give us permissions to cross this border. So we cross this border is just illegal, and that we are just one hand is our death and one hour is our hope. we bring the two and then cross the border. Because we sit down North Korea, we maybe died of starving, or cross border, maybe it's a military, is gunfire to us with death, same thing. But maybe we success crossed this border and went to China, we can have to some of the hope.
Yeah.
But in China, it's not greener places. They also is killed our hope too, because it's many people, this human trafficking and sex slavery in China area. Because in cross the border areas, many human traffickers, smugglers in there, and when they find out that to us, they just is selling to us Chinese men. So if we is complained or something that, and they reported to us Chinese police. So our life is every time is every step, every moment is really dangerous ways. So in 2019 in Korea, in the UK, one of the NGOs published a report about the North Korean women who lives in China. And they nowadays many females they undercome in the online sex slavers, because it's China, the smugglers, they always do people do that. So now is China, these smugglers on the money is in 1 year is $1 billion a year, because they selling these females in online or selling to another man, again another man. So that is really awful. But I usually read about the human trafficking report when they published in our world, but they never mentioned about the North Korean women and girls. So that is really painful me, because the reasons that is they still not get the right information from China and North Korea too, because China also communist countries and they not allowed many information to outside the countries. So that's why always the North Koreans hide under the carpet.
So does the Chinese Communist Party, are they enablers of the Kim dictatorship?
They worked together in China and in North Korea when they say that it's two countries, blood relatives countries. Because in 1950s, when Korean War happened, and then China is the work together in North Korea. So that's why they always say that it's a blood relatives countries. So now it's the same, but it's sometimes, I know sometimes they can't trust to each other, but they work together. So that's why in China and North Korea made agreement in 1980s, and both countries is they citizens who escaped North or China, and they always send to them their countries, because that is not refugees, that is only illegal migrant. So that's why the Chinese government still send to us North Korea. They not accept to us refugees.
So are people given financial incentives to turn people from North Korea in?
In China, is many people, they find out the North Korean refugees because it's a Chinese, the Communist Party, they paid the money to them. So usually it's Chinese people find out us. They never think about to us human. They only think about to us money. So that's why they just catch to us and selling. So when I stayed in China, when I was in China, it's many, there is the disabled people, young people, old people, they came to us. So we look like that is animals, because they just I need how much do I need this lady or something that. So they just compare these monies. So that is a really shame, and really that is an awful moment. Yeah, I couldn't up my pace to in front of people. But that is not only me. That is all North Korean females, same as my same experience. First time is many females didn't understand what means human trafficking and sold to man. We only talked about that is married or something that, but that is totally different. They bought to us, and they all family think about to us only workers, labor workers in outside, and the man is think about to us only sex players, because they never accept to us family and wife. So they usually is kicked to us and shouted to us, and also families not allowed the meals same table. So when I went to this home first day, and the man's mother, and she shouted to me, "I borrowed lots of money and bought you, so you work outside, then pay this money." So first times I didn't understand what mean that. But next day is early morning, she wake up, and walk in outside. So I walked in farm areas, and we early morning and until the dark days, I always walk with is farmer walks. And also in street they have got when I sold to this man, and this areas, the 5 North Korean females is same street. But when we met each other in street, we cannot speak, because it's all family members not allowed to us speak each others. So we never speak to each other, and one life is totally same as me. We really hard work, and is man usually is they alcohol drunk, and the gambling is addict. So they played their gamblings or lot of drunk, and this tortured to us is any times. So it's not human's life, It's the same as in North Korea, and in China it's the same. That is a really horrible times. So I talked about it. I wanted to exist, keep up this life, because I not human. But one day I found out that I was pregnant. So first time I knew that I was pregnant, and I really hate, because if this child born in China, and his life was the same as me, it's the same slavery life. But then I changed my mind, because this child is my hope and my dreams, and he's my family member. So and then I kept this child, but in China not accept this child. So one day is female captains, because China and North Korea has similar systems. They also captains in the street areas. So she came to me and she said that you do this abortion this child, because the North Korea not accept this child. So I denied it, and I wearing the big clothes, and nobody found out that is my pregnancy. And then I walked until my child born. Yeah. I never visited the hospital, because I had no identifications, and the hospital not allowed to us in there. So I never checked my pregnancy or something that, and I never is the medicines or something that. So in that days, my alone is 12 hours pain myself, and no one helped me. So finally, the old lady came to me, and she helped my first the child. So I really pained, and I really missed my mother, and my family. But when I birth my child and I hold my child in my arms and its pain is gone and I really happy moment because I have a family. Yeah. So then I give to him name is there's Iron. Yeah. That is a strong life in China. Yeah. So that moment is I still memorize that is really happiness and the first time is my personal emotions I felt in my mind. Yeah.
So what happened from there on out? Did you bring him up in the household that you were staying in?
I with my son I usually back to him and I continue to walk outside because if I didn't walk and no one gave to me any rice and vegetables, so I keep walking, continued walking, and then I always followed with my son because it's a China family to not accept him and is a Chinese man. He said that he wanted to sold my son because he debt a lot of money from his gamblings. So that's why I always work with him. But 5 years after, somebody reported to me in China police, and then I sent back to North Korea, and my 5 years old child alone in China, and we separated each other.
Oh my god. So where was your child? Or did he stay with that family?
Yes, there is mother-in-law house, and I sent back to North Korea, and I really hard work in labor camp, but I only thought about that is one thing is that I want to reunite my son. That is my survival. That's why I survived when I was in labor camp, because I worked in the fair food and they never allowed our shoes and there's a really unhealthy food to us and unhealthy. Every is the place is unhealthy. So when I really dead in a labor camp because my leg was problems. My temperature is 39, 40 degrees, but they never allowed any medicines.
Oh my god.
But I only talked about it to my son. Because I can't lose any more families.
Yeah.
I want to reunite my son. Yeah.
So what was life like in the labor camp?
That is unspeakable. People never imagined this camp because there's people usually read about that is a Holocaust.
Yeah.
Holocaust is presence, but it's a Holocaust presence. They also allowed meals and also medicines, and they have got some spare rooms. But in North Korea, not is a spare rooms each others. When we sleep, and it's people and under the people because we are not is space and the food also same is sands and stones and it's dark is soups and they never allowed to us medicines and they were allowed to us waters and the females we have got no sanitaries so people is many female used towels but they're not allowed to us any waters so smelling is really disgusting. We cannot wash up the towels and head rice, body rice everywhere. And inside the camp, they just is closed all windows. So inside smelling also really disgusting. And the people, as females, went to the toilet and in front the police guide to them, and they just only if we slowly or something that they just kicked, tortured, and shouted to us. So that is not human's life, that is, the animal also they had got some relaxed times, animal also do that, but we are human, we are not any relaxed times. we always work, really hard work, then finish the work, and they also feed to us politicians, Kim Il-sung's, Kim Jong-il's, something that, and we learned about songs. That is, people imagine that this country is here.
So how did you escape the prison camp then?
Because I almost dead in a prison, because we walked in outside without the shoes. So in North Korea it's really unpavement, and then many glasses and animal feeds everywhere. So when you step the glasses and you're bleeding, but you continue to walk. So I don't know, we walk in there and maybe some kind of a virus is impacted me. And after my leg was swollen and it's yellow, disgusting waters came out.
Was it gangrene?
Yeah, I don't know it's a gangrene or something. That's because I never been to the hospital, so I don't know. And then bugs came in here, and the bug eggs is in my leg everywhere. And my hair changed, my skin also changed, and I look like dead bodies, dead persons. So that's why they say that you cannot die inside the camp. You died outside anyway. So that's why they released me. In there, they have got a lot of different camps. We call it 직결소, 단련대. It's a lot of different. So in North Korea, look like that is a prison camp country. Because everywhere is in a camp. Everywhere is in a camp. And people, there is someone not to feed their politicals or something that. These people also criminals, so that's why they sent to prison. So whole country is prisons. Whole country is prison.
I suppose defecting is probably one of the worst crimes that you can commit.
Yeah, that is anti-socialist crimes. Yeah, because they say that somebody who escaped North Korea, that is anti-socialism, anti-Korean people. So that's why that is really political means.
So what happened after you had been released from the prison camp? How did you get back to China, and how were you reunited with your son?
When they released me, and I had no home and no relatives in this country, so I stayed in outside 7 days in front of the police stations. So I just is a homeless person in there. And no one gave me any food and no waters. And it was August, summer days, but I really cold. My temperature is still higher, and my leg is still illness. And then bugs came to my leg, and lots of these eggs in there. In my leg. I never thought about that is a shock, or I could be die, or maybe I lost my leg. I never thought about that. I only thought about that is my son, and one day I want to reunite him. So that is my last hope. I never gave up this hope. So 7 days after, the police came to me, and they put me in it's a government house, that is orphanage children's house. Every week the police came to me and they checked my condition. So if my condition is better, and they bring me again in prison. So I stayed the orphanage house in 2 months, but that time was still my leg was bad. And the continued the yellow waters came out, and the continued fever, and they not gave me proper food. So they gave to me only one meal, and the afternoon and the evening is nothing. But the children is the same. They only give to him one meal, and then they just is outside, themselves look after food, and come back and only sleep. So same as me in there. So 2 months after, I think my leg was a little bit better, better than before. So that is the last chance. Because if I continue to live these the places, maybe one day they bring me again prison. So I found out that is a broker in North Korea. So that time is many broker in North Korea area, and they find out that is women and girls, because women and girls is the money they selling to them in China, and that is money. So in 2004, that time is daily business in North and China areas. And is the bind the broker is easy to them in first time when I escaped North Korea. So I found that broker, and then myself to the human trafficking because I had no money and my condition is really bad. So that is my last choice. I have to escape this country first, then think about what did I do? That is in China. That is option. Yeah, so I met the broker, and then we crossed the border in early November. So that time is river is in midnight. River is iced and really cold. So midnight we crossed the border with the broker and me, and then another young lady. She also human trafficking, and also old man. So 4 people crossed the border, and we went to China. So China usually is the many Chinese people. They are spies, and they usually find out the North Koreans, because if they report to us, it's police, and then this government paid money to them. So Chinese people usually find out the North Koreans because it's they report the one person, and they got money from government. That money is better than their monthly salaries. So that's why they always find out. Yeah, they always find out the North Koreans. So when we crossed the Tumon River and arrived in China, so we walked mountains because we cannot walk in road area because someone find out to us and reported. So that's why we walked in mountain areas. So cross the border, and we have to go. Is next destination is China broker's house. China broker house. So that journey is we arrived the evening is 9 p.m. because we crossed the border of North Korea is 2 a.m. and arrived this the China's broker house is 9 a.m. So that is a long journey, we mountains journeys, yeah. And nobody find out that my leg was problems, because before the cross the border, I just used my shoelace and put my leg, and I never sat down in that journey times, because I knew that if I sat down and then I not to stand up. So I always stand up and walk. So when before we arrived at this Chinese broker house, we had to on the taxi because that is a too long way. So when we on the taxi, and the taxi driver is the same as many spies in China, so he asked to us a lot of questions. But it's the 3 people, they can't speak Chinese. So I communication a lot with him. Is that I spoke to him. I just is a liar to him. That's his family. And is that my husband and my younger sister, they only graduated primary school, and they live always in Korea villages. So they can't speak Chinese. And my father is the same. He always lives in Korea village and he can't speak Chinese. So that is true. Many Korean Chinese people, they can't speak Chinese properly. That is in these areas. So this man asked me but how did you speak Chinese? So I say that is I graduated high school, and then we walked in mountain, and after snail feed me. So now we went to the hospital. So I saw to him my throat is up and shout to him. So that time is my leg is dark purple, everywhere is dark purple. So he believed that. So after he didn't ask any questions. So when we arrived at this Chinese broker house, and then North Korean broker is really angry to me, and he uses yellowed faces because I did a lot of communication with the taxi drivers. So many North Koreans know that is a taxi driver also spies in China. So I explained everything. So what did I communication with the taxi drivers? So then he laugh, and everyone is this long brief because this means we survived. So I know that is time. So I quickly told to him in here my son in China. So I wanna contact it to him once. So first time he denied it because he told me that you already promised to me. It's a human trafficking in China. So arrived times I didn't contact my son, and the next day is the young females already sold out because it's China broker already find out the Chinese man, so it's quickly sold to her. And after is North Korean broker said that last night you saved me, and you saved also my children in North Korea. If yesterday I arrested and repatriated to North Korea, maybe my family to send to prison camp, and I can't save my children. But you saved me last night, so you contacted to your son. So I contacted my son, but my son didn't answer me, and off phone. So next time, then I quickly call again my son, and son is mom. Then my son, mom, and he cried, and I cried. We didn't communication, and just only cried, and after my son off phone. So that times I didn't know why he off phone, and he didn't answer. I didn't know. I didn't find out that is what happened in him. So in our room is really quiet, and they already heard my sons cried, and I cried. So this broker said that is I didn't selling to you because you saved me last night. So this time I saved you, yeah. So you just go free. Wow. And you find out your son. So yeah, so he just free to me, and then I reunited my son in 2005. So when I met my son, I didn't believe that because when I separated my son and he lived in China, so I thought that is maybe his life is better than North Korean children's. But when I met my son, and he looked like that is a street child, because his family members never responsibility, never care about him. So clothes is really dirty, and he didn't wash up. He's only 5 years old child, and his hand also really dirty. Yeah, so that is really awful, and I'm really angry to that because I know that they hate me because they bought me, but they didn't pay the money, so that's why they angry to me. But that child is their grandchild, but they never care about these children. And my son also statelessness child, and he didn't get any identifications, so that's why to hospitals, everything that. But that is not only my son. Nowadays, maybe 20,000 this statelessness children in China, but this world is always silent. I So that's why I speak about these issues to the world. Yeah. So I met my son, and then we united, and I have to escape this country too, because China is not the safe country, and they never saved to us, accepted to us. So my journey is the first. I thought about we were going to the South Korea, but our journey was failed because that is a really dangerous journey, and we went to the Beijing and the Qingdao everywhere went to the South Korea embassy, but in front of the embassy they have got the Chinese police in there, and they just check the ID card or passport. So but we were not the proof of ID and the passport in there. So that is really difficult. So we met the 9 North Korean refugees in front of the Beijing. It's a South Korean embassy. So we all together went to Mongolia, because Mongolia also, they have got one South Korean embassy. So we crossed the China border. But in China border is really strong fences and 2-meter high. So we cut off this fence, and everyone is run out, because in these areas usually Chinese police go up and go down, and they checked who's crossed this border. But all people is run out, but me and my son is continue to walk, because my son is too young, and he didn't know that is why we crossed this border. And my leg was still the problems. So I just walked. Then I saw Chinese police car right, and this right is come up to us. So my head is just blanket. I didn't think about any words. I just only holding a hand. It's strong to my son, and we walk. So that time is somebody came to us. So I really shocked. I thought that is a Chinese police, but someone came to us, and he kept the back to my son and holding my hand. Then we ran, and we crossed the second Chinese border, and then ran, and after just arrived in Mongolia. But Mongolia border is just only 50 centimeters, not higher. So we arrived in Mongolia. So that's how I met my husband. It's now husband. Yeah. So I first fell into love and to him.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that is the first my love. Yeah. So he rescued me and my son, because he knew that is crossed again this border. This means because he already repatriated North Korea once, and he knew that is how is North Korea systems, but he never think about himself. He only think about me and my son, wanted to save this mother and the son. So that's why he crossed the border and saved it to us.
So, when did you come into contact with the United Nations?
So when we arrived in Mongolia, and the first time I knew that is Mongolia also desert, because I didn't know that is Mongolia was desert. And that is really cold, and we stayed in there 3 days, and we didn't find any person. So we had no water and no food, so, and really cold. So my son first is dying, dead, dirty, and everyone is the same. So we decided we cannot die in desert, because if we died in here, nobody bind to us. So then we crossed the border again and went to China.
Oh my God.
Because we have to survive. We are not scared everything that is, because we know that is one hand, we bring to one hand is death, one hand is hope. We always bring to that is our hands. So we have to cross the border if we success, and we then survive, But we cannot shut down this desert and until the die. So we crossed the border again, and we went to China, and then we three lived together. So my husband always made Korean dishes in a home, and I sold to in a market. Me and my husband and my son also speak Chinese really well, so nobody know that is we were North Koreans.
Okay.
So we then we stayed in then, and also the second son born in China to 2006. Yeah. And after 2007, I met one of the Korean pastor, and he was my VIP customers. He usually bought our Korean dishes, and so he met to us many this 1 year's times, and he knew that we were North Koreans. So one day he spoke to us. China is still the dangerous way, and in China Olympic is coming soon in 2008, and now China has find that is illegal people, and they sent back to North Korea. So if you want to leave these countries, I just is a help. So that is really great news. So and the Korean pastors, they help the North Korean refugees who live in China, and they usually bring it to them in South Korea, and also they send to the United Nations, and then America or some journeys. So they helped to us and sent to us the United Nations. But the first time I didn't know that, I never heard about the United Nations and what they do. Yeah, so I thought that is the United Nations maybe similar brokers, because our journey is always with brokers. So I thought that is a brokers because we never heard that the United Nations. So they told to us is choose countries, South Korea, America, or European country. We knew that is South and America countries, North Korea enemies, and if we unsuccessful this journey and sent back to North Korea, and what they do, we already know that is maybe we not survive, which is death, executions, and then I separated my son forever. So that's why that times we have to choose. So that's we choose the Europe, this is England, because it's a European country is not enemy country in North Korea. So that's why I chose England. Then 2008, I arrived in England.
How did the North Korean pastor know that you were from North Korea? Did he guess, or did you explain to him your situation?
They knew that it's North Koreans because usually it's Chinese Korean people. They have this makeup and everything is different to us, and we are faces really familiar faces to them. So that's why but we can't speak out that I am North Koreans, but they already knew.
So what was it like when you first arrived into the UK?
I thought that is because I knew that is the England is a king country. I never thought about it as a queen's country. A king country, and romantic man is wearing the hat and woman is wearing dresses. So that is really romantic countries. And also, I thought that is England also live in only one nation, English people. But first time I arrived in Heathrow, that is totally different because it does look like this world. It's one world living in there. So that is really shocked me. And I never find out that is ladies and gentlemen. That is original ladies and gentlemen in a street. And then I knew that is queen's country, not king country.
Were there any cultural differences that you hadn't expected? I think you mentioned about newspapers.
Yes, yeah. Newspaper, because in North Korea, newspaper is a really special paper. But in here is many free newspaper, and in some newspaper is prime minister or queens or their family pictures in there. But people, when they read newspaper and they threw it in bin, so that is really shocked me first. Maybe these people sent to prison or something that. But the people never mind. And some people sat down on the newspaper or they just say something used to cleaning on the floor or something that. That is really shocked me. That is culture shocks.
I'm interested to know if it took a while to feel safe, or did you feel safe immediately? And also, how long it took to feel freedom mentally? Because I imagine there's a difference from being free in the physical, but also the conditioning and the fear undoing that. If that makes sense, I hope that I explained that.
Yeah. Yes, because when I arrived in the UK and first I sent to the Home Office and I was asylum seeker. So when I got the ID card and we first moved to that asylum seeker's house, but we didn't know that any English. So, but the people really nice to us. They is a car with car and bring to us some home office interview or lawyer interview, and they bring the letter and they explained a lot, but we didn't understand. We just and then we can see only numbers, date and times. So okay. We just only because number is the same, number is the same, but they're really nice. And after I got a refugee visa, and then Home Office told me that you saved in here, so safe, and they gave to me ID card. When I got this ID card, and I just cried. I just cried a lot, and I said that it's only thank you, because that when I got this ID card, that is a small card, but this card is saved to us and our family. So that is really thankful, really thank you. So yeah, but it's first time when I got this refugee visas, but I never thought about this as a human rights and freedom, because I never know that is this world. So life was shortly in the England, and I got the refugee visa. So after I had to learn English, and then after I listened to properly, someone said to us, and they said, "Welcome to the United Kingdom." So this word also touched me. It's welcome this one. This is only one word, but this word is describing the lot, a new life, happiness, freedom, opportunity, challenges, everything is included. So these people, they don't know me, and we are different, the faces and the different background, and we are Asians, but they never discriminate Asians. They always smile to us and welcome to me. So that is taught me. And the first also England teaching to me personal emotions. That before I said that is North Korea's only political emotions. So my first felt that the emotion is with my family on a table. We together had dinner. And then my children spoke about the daily school times. So when they spoke about the day's school times, I don't know, I just stared. I just cried. Because I never experienced kind of that with my family, my mother and my father, when I lived in North Korea. Because my mother always spoke to us political issues. They never spoke to us kind of the human issues. So that is the first, my happiness. And then I I thought that is what is freedom. That is my first thought. But in here, first I bought, and I know that is I am a freedom person, because it's a freedom of thought is really important, and thought means that we finally find that is real democratic. So yeah, that is the first time I felt it's I am freedom person in here.
Did you find it the asylum system and how people treated you to be positive?
Yeah, first time is the people when they saw to us, and they call it to us Chinese, or sometimes they thrown the stone in my home. Yeah, they did that. Yeah, so we also angry, and we sometimes shouted to them. But after we changed mind, because if that is not is the life, So because they don't understand to us, and we also don't know to them. So that's why we always angry to each other. So that time my husband told to us, we have to learn English. And then now is English people, they walk their destinations, but we run. We wanted to run, and we just is the same levels to them. Then communication with to them and speak to them after they understand to us. So that is right. Yeah. So then me also and my children is the same. We really hard work and have to learn English. Yeah. So I know that is I am not the learned person. I'm a learner person. Every day I learn the new this society. So and then I step to one is in English is coming to the English society, and then communication with them, and I have to learn English cultures. Yeah, so I joined to them, and we together, and after people not discrimination to us, and they now is many people friendly to us. Yeah. I know that is many asylum seekers and refugees or immigrant people, they usually speak this English people treated to them or discriminated to them. But that is, yes, some of the people do that, but it's these English people always welcome to us. So that's why they accept to us in here. So I usually speak to the refugees that don't complain first. You have to learn English first, then explain to them your life and your journeys. And then many people understand, and they holding your hand, and we work together. So please not complain first. Have to learn another person or society first.
I think it's such a foreign concept for a lot of people who live in the UK or Western countries to have to flee your country or to be in danger. So I think a lot of people don't understand, and the media doesn't help either, the way it portrays asylum seekers. So there's a lot of education that is needed to help people understand.
Yeah. We both learn together, because we have to learn English first. Then I know that is a refugee language also really important, because our language is describing our life. But we have to learn English first, then explain to the English people about our journeys, our life. So English people also human. Refugees and also English people, we have to learn together, both each others.
Yes.
So then we communications, and after, because we are same nation, because the refugees also in here, and we also work with we wanted to great countries work together in growing up in Britain. So we work together. But also refugees always remember one thing, that's why did they left their country. They not forget that. So if they forget that, they always complained. They always complained. This country is better than our countries. I know that is when I arrived in here, I never talked about the negatives. Because always I think about the positive, and these positives improved my life in here. And this country is the heaven. Is why we left North Korea? But because my country is hell. That is not human lived in these countries. They not accept the human. That is heaven. So refugees have to remember it.
I think it's everybody does. Do you feel frustrated when people who live here take things for granted and don't understand or appreciate the liberties they have and the privileges they have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know that is so that's why I usually speak about the education. Because it's a freedom and justice important, and the next is education. So this world is democratic countries and the socialist country and also communist countries in China and North Korea. But now is many generations, they don't understand what is communism, what is socialism, and what is democratic. So we have to teaching to them right the educations, not we teach to wrong them. Socialism and the communism countries is a slavery systems. Slavery, not they accept human dignity. They do this whole life is a slavery, and without the freedom. But in democratic countries, first is a personal choice. That is really important, and we live in totally freedom to move, freedom to live, the freedom to education, everything. So I know it's people think about this freedom is really easy to think about that, but freedom comes to us enormous risks, and we don't know that this freedom is a success or not. That is really dangerous journeys, always. But we fight that is the evils or dictators. And if we don't fight that, we always life is same to this slavery life. So, so sometimes I say that we have to fight freedom. And many people caution to that is how do we fight freedom? So, is a student, they have to learn right educations. That's also fight of freedom.
Did your son understand what had happened?
Now he's understand, but when he was 12 in the UK, and he asked me that, Mommy, I had one question, and then I just moved my questions. So his first question was, Mommy, why did you abandon me and leave me? So this question is changed my life, and I became human rights activist. Because before this question, I only talked about that is me is a really painful person. I only is the victims, and I only survivors and witness. I talked about that. But the first time I've seen another person's painful story. That is my son. That is my son. But I never knew that is my son's painful stories. So this question is changed my life, and then I stand up and speak out that my stories. But that is not only my story. That is all North Korean female and North Koreans' life, real life now.
So sorry. I truly am.
Yeah.
But I'm just so grateful to God that you are safe and you found freedom and that you're with your family.
Yeah, I know this. I am not the religion person, but I know that is God why saved me and why He put me in here. Yeah. I know that is He give to me, you have to responsibility in another person. He just speaks, so that's why he saved me. So I know that I am not good at religions, but I always think about that's why am I survivor? Why am I here? I usually ask me these questions. So that's why I usually, sometimes, I know that is really hard work. That is really hard work. So sometimes I thought that I gave up, and then I find that is another job. But I think again, why God survived me and put me in here. Then after I start again. Yeah.
I can only just commend you for what you do and for the fact you've been through all of that and came out of it on the other end such a strong and compassionate person. It's just incredible, and you really just embody human strength and endurance, and you're an absolute inspiration. You really are, and I just feel so honored to have been able to speak with you. You're incredible, really.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know that my English is not perfect, and my grammar was not make sense. But I'm really thankful you listen to me and it's everything. So I'm really happy. And you can send to me your address, so I send you microphone and the cameras.
Cool. Yeah. I will do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Well, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.